Dricus Du Plessi versus me. You know what? I don't want the fight. I don't want the fight. I'm not into the fight. And you know what? I think I'm a supporter of Dricus. I mean, that would be like an opinion. Yeah, I suppose you guys have to weigh in on. But I know I'm a fan. I can tell you that. And I'm in this weird thing. And I made a pretty big accusation, which is he didn't do the fight that was this past weekend. He didn't do the fight because emotionally, I use the word scared. There's the word scared. And there's some words that you can't use on certain people. There's some words, like if you're a union guy, scab. Scab is this terrible word. The word bitch. If you're an inmate, I'm not just using examples, like words that might not affect you, do another, and when you call a fighter scared, you're saying something. You're saying something more than the normal person, and I understand that. And there's a bit of a code, and I understand that. But I didn't know another word to use. And one of the reasons that his has lived on, Red Pill brought this up. And he said, hey, Chael, you're saying his foot doesn't hurt. How would you know if his foot hurts? It's like, well, fair enough, but I actually do have a piece of evidence. I watched him walk out of the octagon. There's my piece of evidence. I'm bringing this to you because I want to turn the page. I want to turn the page from this, but it's a very hard thing to back down on because I don't understand what difference it would make. And there is a point in being accurate. You got to be accurate. Now, first off, it's an opinion. I'm saying I think that he was scared. I think that Izzy hopped in the ring. They had an interview. I know everything changed. I know before that interview the fight was on because I heard Joe Rogan say it. I know after the fight, quit talking about Izzy and he quit talking about the fight. And he started saying, I don't know if I can be there. Started saying I have some owies that I got to go look at. Never specified what they were. All those things happened. If he wasn't scared, he wasn't scared. How would I know? I mean, in all fairness, how would I? He's the one that would know, and he says that he wasn't. When I tell you I don't know what difference it makes, I truly don't. The rules of the playground apply to the octagon, and nothing more. There is nothing that could or would happen on recess that have two people mano a mano before somebody gets involved and breaks it up, that brings a crowd and gets the school talking about it. There's nothing that would happen there that doesn't work, whether it would be no crowd and nobody would be talking about it, and it wasn't the hype of the school, that you could apply to the octagon and sell out an arena. There's nothing. At the same time, there's nothing that you could do on recess, from your mama jokes to whatever they're fighting about to what the rules are to meet me at 3 o'clock behind the whatever. It works in the octagon. It's all the same stuff, and I don't understand. You did the fight, you didn't do the fight. I don't understand. Here's a world title fight. To be your first time ever in a main event. To be your first time to ever attempt to enter the 5-round club. If you win, everything you've dreamed about is yours. Oh, and by the way, from a financial perspective, the only way you can ever retire being a fighter, whatever that means, is if you were at some point in on the pay-per-view. Just so you understand, I mean, right, nobody wants to talk about money, but I'm just sharing. Everything's right here. What difference does it make why you didn't show up? What difference does it make? I won't fight Izzy unless I feel great. I won't fight Izzy unless my foot's okay. I won't have my arms out of place. I won't fight Izzy unless it's at 185 pounds. I won't fight Izzy because I was scared. I won't fight Izzy because it wasn't enough notice. What difference does it make? There was an opportunity that was earned. See, this is why I want to turn the page. I don't like that I got pinned into this corner, and I gotta blame Red Pill a little bit. Now, Red Pill called me out. He's got the right to do that. But when he did that, it made me dig in. It made me dig in to my fact pattern, which was, here's the match. Right now, in real time, here's the match. I'm watching on television. HD, Ari Alexa cameras, 4-camera shoot, pay-per-view around the world. I'm in my living room. I'm watching this, okay? Then an interview happens, and then the fight is off. That happened. That's accurate. Now we've gotten to this weird thing where we're arguing about, was there a limp and should have there been a limp? My position is there was no limp. The contrary position is there should have been a limp. I was hiding the limp. Now, I don't want to tease and laugh about that. I really don't. This is a guy I respect. I really do. I believe the Dricus Du Plessi that Robert Whittaker had to face is a top 5 middleweight ever. I was the king of middleweights. I never lost a middleweight fight. I never even lost a round at middleweight. And again, I'm not looking to shine my own wheels. I'm saying I really know the division. Like I have a right to an opinion. I earned it. And I don't know 5 guys that could beat that dude. I'm not positive there's one guy. I'm not positive that Drake couldn't beat everybody I've ever seen. That's really high praise. And that's how I like to look at Du Plessis. Not to mention, in December of last year, he was an undercard guy. And they were calling him DDP, which is kind of like GSP. I thought he was a French Canadian. I just did. And I bring that to you. This is how little I knew about the guy. Now I know all about him. He's done everything right. He's done everything very beautifully. Nothing changes the fact that he earned that fight. He went through Robert Whittaker. There's one dude alive that went through Robert Whittaker. His name's Israel Adesanya. Was the only guy that was left. Du Plessis cut the line in front of all of them. Number 1 contender. Number 1 contender and number 1 ranked gets so confused by you guys. Number 1 ranked is called number 1 ranked. Number 1 contender is whoever has a signed bout agreement. It's rather important that you understand that distinction. And people within our industry confuse words and terms all the time. So you're not wrong to do it. I'm just helping you out as the professor of this course to tell you a number 1 contender is whoever is fighting the champion next. Doesn't happen at a press conference, doesn't happen in a magazine, doesn't happen on a .com, doesn't happen by a ranking. It happens by something called a bout agreement. So you could be ranked anything. If you have the bout agreement, you're now the number 1 contender. I just want to clear that up for you. I don't understand what difference it would make. It's an opportunity that he earned that he could be very proud of. And when I tell you he's scared, I realize in fighter terms, while I'm sitting over here trying to act like Mr. Innocent, I am well aware that is a derogatory term amongst our industry. The reason it's important that this detail in history isn't changed. Greatest fighter to have ever done this sport is Georges St. Pierre. Georges St. Pierre had the exact same opportunity and he had the exact same fear. Only difference was he walked out and did it anyway. Now, this was against Matt Hughes. There was 1 second left in an absolute dominant first round when Georges St. Pierre gave a mystery armbar and tapped out. George talked about it later. He said, I got in there. I looked across the range. There's Matt Hughes. I couldn't believe it. They shut the door. I got Big John McCarthy right. I'm looking at this guy. This is the guy that I've watched. I can't believe it. I don't belong. That's how I felt. I didn't belong. I now realized I've watched the tape. I felt him. I've won some fights in between. I have confidence. Give me another shot. But it was so empowering. And I just understood from a first-hand perspective, I dealt with some of that same stuff. That same stuff that you've got to get through. And you think it's your secret. You think you're the only one. You don't talk about it. I mean, I went through Division I athletics thinking that I had a secret. And my secret was a fear of exhaustion. Does that surprise you? Not a fear of my opponent or what you would place. Before I would go on the mat, I had one fear, which is I would reach a point of fatigue in front of the 25 people that came to watch a wrestling match that day while I'm out there in this thing they call a singlet. I thought it was my secret. I thought nobody else had it. I have a conversation 3 years after college. I'm now in the pros, 3 years after college with an old roommate of mine named Chet McBee, where he tells me that this is his secret to, my God, I thought it was only me. I call this guy named Casey Hunt that was on the team. I run it past him. Yeah, he had the same. What? We all have the same. I thought it was just me. And I bring it to you because it is an important thing. Now, Dricus doesn't owe me an explanation. He doesn't owe you an explanation. I'm sharing with you as an athlete that's been there and done that and had the experience that I wish I hadn't have had. I could only go back and do things different. I wanted to change my preparation or my training or my partners or my game plan. Wouldn't have changed any of those things. I would have changed the way that I approached the match. And I feel what I'm telling you, I'd like to turn the page with Dricus. I feel as though I'm coming. You gotta listen to me. I'm older. Look at me. I'm big brother. Just look at, I've been there. Trust me. Had those same fears. You want to take all the power away? Admit it. He doesn't know us an explanation. He doesn't owe us an explanation. But I don't know an apology. This is what happened. Earned the fight. Had the fight announced, right? Joe Rogan's in the ring. Joe Rogan doesn't make fights, but Joe Rogan does have an earpiece in it that has somebody in a truck that has the ear of Dana White who told him to say this because the fight was made. And then he changed his mind. And there's nothing wrong with missing a fight because you were scared. Guys do it all the time. The greatest ever, George St. Pierre, did it. The difference was he didn't make something up. He didn't blame it on anything. He said what it was. Revealing that took its power away. It made it stronger. Little piece of psychological advice. It's just a little piece of psychological advice. But it is important that you tell the story the way that it happens. And I haven't got the foggiest idea. I personally don't understand. I was scared. Sounds relatable. Sounds like you're a normal human being. If you dealt without fear, you're called a sociopath. I was scared seemed to make sense. I backed down from a fight because my foot hurt. I think you're better. Telling the truth. There was an expression, the truth will set you free. Uncle Chael's just here to help you and truth meet one another.